wanted to show you something that was really eye-opening for me, and it just helped me understand the guitar a lot better, especially as it comes to chord shapes. So, very simply, it's this. It's that any chord can be moved to different sets of strings, and it will maintain its interval pattern. So all that means, I'm going to show you here, is if I have, let's take this chord for example. This is an E major bar chord, or not a bar chord, open chord, E major open chord. It sounds like this. It'll be familiar to probably most of you, but watch this. If I get rid of that note, so now we have this pattern: root, fifth, root, third. And I'm going to get rid of this one too. Just those 4 notes. Now, if I were to move these 4 notes over to the next set of strings, notice that the pattern has been broken. Now you have root, fifth, root, minor third, or flat 3. And so what you have to do is any note that falls on this second string needs to be raised a half step. And then you've maintained the pattern of intervals: root, fifth, root, third. And that is the open A chord. Let's do it again. Let's move these notes over to the next string set. And again, the note that falls on the B string, the second string, you have to raise 1 half step. And then look, you've got the same interval pattern: root, fifth, root, third. And that is your open D chord. And so this works for any chord. So if you know any chord that doesn't, well, let's see here. I'll show you. So let's just take a random chord. Let's look at this chord, for example. It's a very useful chord here. So look at the pattern it creates: root, third, flat 7, 2. And on the 7th fret, it sounds like this. Great chord. This is a E9 chord. Now, if we wanted to play this chord on a different set of strings, these exact notes, all we have to do is find this note on the next string up, which is going to be up here. So watch, we'll take these and we will, first we're going to move it over to the next string set. Whatever note falls on the B string, we raise a half step. And then we're going to move this whole group of notes down so that this falls on the note E like we had before. Look at that. Same pattern: root, third, flat 7, 2. I'll copy it down here so you can see both of them. So this is what we started with. So these are the exact same 4 notes. Watch, here's the 7th fret. And then we'll play this set up here. Same notes. So this really helped me because sometimes it's really useful to play these chord shapes on different string sets, it just kind of almost doubles your chord vocabulary almost instantly if you start moving chord shapes around in different ways. Let me show you one more kind of application. One more application for this. We're going to go back to our E major chord. We did here. So this is root 5th, root 3rd, and then down here this is the note E. And so let's turn everything into note names so you can see notes. Yeah. E, B, E, G sharp. Sounds like this. Now we're going to find another 2 ways to play this by taking these notes and moving them to a different string set. So we're going to copy, and we're just going to move them over to the next string set and move it down to where E falls on the 5th string, right there. And then whatever note falls on that B string, you have to raise up 1 fret. And look, you've got the same notes: E, B, E, G sharp, E, B, E, G sharp. So let's do it again. We're going to move everything over to the next string set and then down to the note E, and then raise the note that falls on the B string. So now you've got 3 ways of playing the same exact chord. Really, really useful stuff, in my opinion. You might be asking, why does this work like this? And the reason why has to do with how the guitar is tuned. So the open E string on the low 6th string and the A string, from E to A is a 4th, E, F, G, A. From A to D is also a 4th, A, B, C, D. To D to G is also a 4th. And then here's where the rule gets broken. From G to B is not a 4th, it's a 3rd. And so because it's a 3rd and not a 4th, if you want a 4th, you have to raise that note on the B string up 1 fret. And then the pattern continues. A 4th is just straight across. So these are all 4ths right here. C to F is a 4th, G to C, and so on. So because you've got this 3rd from G to B, any note that falls on the B string has to be raised a half step for the interval pattern to be maintained. Yeah. Anyway, this was really helpful for me. I started taking chords that I already knew and then finding ways to play them in different places. Do minor chords. Anything. Anyway, give that a try. Let me know if you have any questions about any of this. I love talking about this stuff, so